Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. We're going to be going through day 4 of the Sri Lanka versus England, a second test at Gaul, and we're also going to do a little series review as well. I've got with me Venu, looking, well, clean shaven and fresh. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good. You recovered from your birthday celebrations?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a decent birthday. I know it snowed on my birthday, so it's
Yeah.
quite a nice touch. But
There's not going to be any pictures of you doing an angel in the snow, is there?
no, I didn't actually go out yesterday.
Oh, really?
In the snow
Oh,
because
well.
I already went out before to do my exercise, but before it snowed, so I didn't go out again because I was a good boy.
Good boy. Yeah, exactly. A good boy. Okay, so let's go straight into day 4 then. So I think it's fair to say that the first 3 days were very, very competitive. I thought there was some really, really good test cricket played. Benny's shaking his head because we're about to discuss day 4. But yeah, so on day 3, England finished the day on 339 for 9. Jack Leach, Ian and James Anderson hadn't come onto the field or faced the ball yet. At that point, England are looking pretty, I don't know, it's a precarious position, right? Because Sri Lanka are leading by 42 runs. And I think overall, Sri Lanka would have been pretty happy, I think, on day 3. I think slight advantage to Sri Lanka, let's say. Going into then day 4, they clean up Anderson pretty quickly. And I think they still had a lead of 38, I think it was. So pretty decent. And they came to bat for second innings. And I think we went over this and we said, Sri Lanka will need a lead of about, let's say 200 at least, right? I think was what we were talking about, more if possible, but they're going to end up batting 2 and a bit sessions most likely. Kusal Perera came with Tiramane, opened up, and at 19 for 1, you're thinking, okay, it's not going to be too bad. 29 for 2, 37 for 3, and then wickets just continually tumbled until really the only resistance was EMBULDENIYA, who I feel so sorry for because he pretty much had to do it all. He hit 40 off 42 balls, which is a really, really good 40 as well, I have to say. It saved them. It gave them a chance, I think, for sure. And they end up getting skitter for 126. So, Venu, your thoughts on, well, another batting class from Sri Lanka after a pretty impressive first innings?
I'm disappointed it's on. That's what. If you were to sum up one word of today's performance by Sri Lanka, a disappointment. Just disappointing. Like 3 days during a test match, they batted really well first innings. They got themselves a 30 run lead, and yeah, this happened. And all the wickets falling to Bess and Leach, who we said after the first innings that they really need to up their game. But you can't really say, and so Root Bess and Leach spinners. You can't really say it's been all the wickets are products of good bowling. Some of them were shocking. Some dismissals, like Chandimal's wicket. What was that about? Like
Chandimal's wicket was
that was hilarious.
That was.
Did
but
you
he's
hear
so
what?
experienced. What
Yeah.
did Root say?
He's like, go on, Chandy, go for a slog or something. I mean, literally, he goes for a slog, and Anderson, good catch by him.
Yeah.
Out, and just thinking, what are you doing? Just bat the session. That's all you have to do.
So he hit best for 2 fours, didn't he, that over? And then he I think there was like 8 or 9 from that over. And I think it was the penultimate or the last ball of the over. And as you said, Root said that. But when I saw that, I just thought to myself, what is going on? Like, this is an experienced batsman who we've seen is a class act. No, let's be honest. But for Root to get into his head like that is really strange. And like, you want to take, the attack to them, but did they not learn from the first test match when Best got a fifer and he shouldn't have because, they just played really, really poorly. And the shots they played were just like, what were they thinking? Like they were playing the wrong shots to the wrong deliveries. Asjad, welcome. Let's go to you then. Good spin bowling by Beach and Leach. This is the first time, by the way. This is the first time in a test match that each innings, so the first innings was 10 wickets to seamers, the second innings, 10 wickets to spinners. This is the first time it's ever happened in a test match, by the way. But yeah, what did you think? Do you think this was just like similar to the first test, poor application by the batsman, or was it a good bit of bowling from the spinners, or a bit of both?
I'd say a bit of both. Mainly because yes, you were talking about Chandimal. That was like Shahid Afridi-esque. Like genuinely, it made absolutely no sense.
Your Venu is so upset. Yeah.
Right? Exactly that, right? And then because Chandimal is such a like big player for them, and he does something that irresponsible is probably the best word to kind of say on that. So I think England, in terms of the spinners, I think Best actually bowled really well, in my opinion, in this specific innings. The way he got Matthews out, I thought he kind of confused him with the flight in that delivery that went under his bat to bowl him. So personally, I think this is the best I've seen Best bowl since he debuted for England. Leach just did Leach things. He just bowled where he needed to and got wickets. But honestly, it's about 70% bad batting, but at the same time, you had 30% good bowling as well from England. I was kind of surprised that EMBULDENIYA got 40 and Root got him out the way that he did. It was genuinely catching practice.
It was
like
a tame, wasn't it? It was a tame dismissal.
Yeah, he just passed it to the slip, saying, "Oh yeah, do you want to take this as a catch?" And it just shocked me because I was expecting, at least, like I said yesterday, I was expecting they should post something like 200 or at least score 200 runs so they have a lead of about 230, 240, and that brings them into the game. But yeah, this was atrocious. This was just horrible.
Yeah, it was a collapse of epic proportions, let's be honest. And Leach bowled well early doors because he got rid of both openers. Best, I think he did bowl better, but the Matthews delivery, to me, was a misjudgment from him. He went to sweep a ball that he shouldn't have. And I feel like one thing I would say is it was tricky to bat on because you saw with Root the way he got out today trying to sweep as well to a ball which he shouldn't really have. And we saw how well he swept throughout the whole series. So I just think Angelo Matthews there probably should have used his feet or then gone maybe to the back foot there. A bit of a misjudgment, but it's hard to take too much credit away from Best considering he bowled him through the gate. Dick Weller's dismissal from Best smashed it straight to, I think it was cover. Like, just ridiculous dismissal. Dilwan Pereira.
As you said, it's a collapse of epic proportions. Like, I felt bad for them in the previous match, right? In that first innings. I don't feel bad for Sri Lanka anymore. I'm angry at Sri Lanka for doing this.
Yeah.
It's just absolute mind-boggling. Like, I thought they were actually going to put up a fight. They were actually going to do something and put England under pressure. And they did at Pakistan.
Well, I was saying to Venu, right, the first 3 days were super competitive. And then really, they went into the 4th day with a slight advantage. And they just threw it all away. They started off well cleaning up England, and then they just threw it all away, really. And it's so difficult because you can't say and cite inexperience because this top 6, apart from Ashada Fernando, they've all played quite a few test matches. So I just think for me, it was poor. And EMBULDENIYA, that knock was really, really impressive. To me, he slog swept really well, used his feet really well to spinners. As you said, Ashada was catching practice, but I think for him to even get 40 runs at the time was very, very impressive. And he really pulled them back to give them some type of hope. A bit of a weird dismissal on Root had that golden arm, didn't he? And I think it got to a point where Best at least were getting spanked by EMBULDENIYA, and he was like, I can do better than this. And so he brought himself on, which you don't normally see. And he didn't go for any runs, and he picked up 2 wickets in just under 2 overs. So pretty impressive from him. Okay, let's go on to the England second innings. So at the start, EMBULDENIYA, I mean, how many times have we said this throughout the series? Started off really well, picked up Zach Crawley for 13, who once again fell to EMBULDENIYA, and he just seems to be struggling. We'll touch upon Dom Sibley in a bit because he was knocked out. Johnny Bairstow again. And Johnny Bairstow, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he got out in pretty much exactly the same way that he got out in the first innings. LBW trapped, and I think it was that arm ball, or not even, it's just the left hand off spinner that goes straight on. So it was an arm ball, and it was just really, really impressive by Buldeniya. But Bairstow getting out the same way twice is not great. Joe Root sweeping when he shouldn't have. And Dan Lawrence again failed with the bat, only 2 for him. And Buldeniya again, really, really impressive. Venu, from a Sri Lankan point of view, do you think they should have done better though? Because 164 on day 4, of Ingal is still, look, you still need to get those runs, and they had a chance. But what do you think? A pretty decent start, but they let the game get away from them a little bit.
Yeah, they did. But let's be honest, getting 164 is not the biggest of chases, and if they had 100 more runs, they've been chasing 100. Yeah, they would have put more pressure on the batsman. Could have had more aggressive fields. Some of the field placements today, I wasn't too sure about. They're giving away like easy singles. I was like, mate, it's just what's going on. But that I've been in a bad mood all day, and it was such a shambles. It's just been a shambles. Just as Asjad said, he's angry. I'm angry as well. Like,
yeah,
you become a laughing stock. You literally become a laughing stock.
You know what though? The first 3 days were so competitive, so I think that's why it's even more frustrating. And let's touch upon the fielding, because I'm going to go to you. I said, right, and I said this so much, I think, throughout the whole day, and I was saying to you guys in our group, and I was saying, look, fielding wise, you need to bowl the team out. Then you're not going to be able to restrict them for runs. Let's be honest. You need to bowl them out for under 164. I think it was. When you set a field, should you really be having 2-3 sweepers out to your spinners? Like, you should be having one. I think Dom Sibley, they let him have the single to, I think it was long on, throughout the whole of his innings from the start. Like, is he a power hitter? No, he's someone who's just going to nerdle it around for singles most of the time, right? So why would you have someone at long on and just say to him, okay, you can just, here you go. And also he's more leg side anyway. So you're just saying to him, here we go, have that free single there. And it was bizarre. And it wasn't a trap either. It was almost just like they wanted to have protection out there. But early doors, when he's been in terrible form, why are you not setting a more aggressive field? You should have one sweeper, maybe maximum, which is either for the sweep or for the drag down. So then you just have a deep mid wicket, really. That's what I would have. Or you have a deep square leg. But apart from that, you have people around the bat, because at the time they were 17 for 1. That's when you just had to say, okay, look, we need to keep on getting wickets. Let's go forward. They didn't do that. Then also with the field, they didn't adjust the field depending on the batsman. So I thought that was really poor captaining from Chandimal. And I think they missed Karunaratne a lot. What do you think, Asjad?
You pinpointed everything that I was going to mention, but I completely agree with you, honestly, because this is the thing, right? Dom Sibley's bat, and you've probably seen this. Nasir Hussain is telling you why Dom Sibley gets out to left arm off spinners, that he shows his right shoulder and all that. His bat is going towards mid on, and that's what Dom Sibley finds easy. So if you're gonna keep giving him singles down there, obviously he's gonna come back into form, right? So that's one point. The second point, as you clearly mentioned, Chandimal's captaincy was just terrible. It was so bad. Like, I'm not a good captain. I could captain better than that. I'm not even kidding you. Genuinely, you set fields based on certain plans you have against players, right? You don't just say, oh, I have Johnny Bairstow. I'll have the same field that I have for Joe Root and for Josh Butler and for Dom Sibley. They're different players. They have different strengths. They have different weaknesses. So you change the field based on that. And it's just, I was watching and I was like, this is something you don't see very often. The captain's just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to change the field.
Yeah. So hands off. It was hands off, wasn't it? It was hands off, and it was schoolboy errors. And even at the level that I play at, for different batsmen, you'll change your field. Like, it's just so simple. Like, it's just so bizarre that he just thought, let's have the same field for each of these batsmen when they play so differently. Joe Root loves to sweep all the time. Dan Lawrence loves to use his feet and come down the track. Same with Bairstow. Butler is a different player as well. As you saw, he likes to play through the covers. He's very bottom hand. Like, you have to adjust, and they just didn't. Venu, from an England point of view, though, I think there's 2 positives to come out of that innings. And the first one is Dom Sibley coming back into form, as Asjad said. Looks like he's in a bit of nick now going into that India tour. And Josh Butler as well got some runs after he hasn't really got... I mean, he got 50, to be fair, so he's had a good test match. But in the first one, he didn't perform. But here, again, he has 50-odd in the first innings and now 46 from 48. A very free-flowing knock. It wasn't like he blasted it. It was pretty much a test match knock. They were proper shots, and he just picked the bad balls and they gave it to him. So what do you think about those two?
Yeah, I think they both warrant a chance to be in the first, to play against India in the first test match in a couple of weeks. I think it's funny, Dick Weller was sledging Sibley, and he was saying, "Oh, are you going to open in India?" I said, and then Sibley was quite clever and said, "I'm not sure because I've had a bad series." And fair enough, he's hit a half century, just a type of innings that England needed, chasing 164, and having Buttler at the other end, playing a Buttler type innings of strike rate just over 95. Yeah, and let's be honest, Butler's wicketkeeping has been excellent this tour, and I think there's no question mark. He's England's number one now in terms of the gloves, in terms of wicketkeeper batsman. So yeah, they've both done well for themselves.
Yeah, I think there was obviously the question mark that we kept on saying about Ben Foakes, but considering Butler's now kept very well, that'll be gone. I think Butler is only there for the first two tests. First test, I think originally it was the first two, wasn't it? But maybe they've cut it back.
It was.
They've cut it down to one, which means Ben Foakes, I'm assuming, is going to get a look in, because I don't think they trust Johnny Bessel with the gloves that much. But we'll see. So hopefully we see Ben Foakes in action. Overall, though, let's go to you first, Ashad. How impressive was Joe Root? I mean, obviously didn't perform in this innings, got bowled out by Mendes trying to sweep a ball. But let's be honest, in the whole scheme of things, doesn't mean too much. I think he has now got 8,200, if I add the runs up now, 8,249 runs. So he's just behind Alex Stewart. Graham Gooch is in front of him, and Alistair Cook is on 12,472. And he overtook Boycott, Peterson, and Gower in this series. And I think he averages 50 in 6 different countries, which is pretty impressive. I mean, a great start to the year for him. And are we going to see a big year?
I was speaking to Kez from We Cricket, and I said to him, I was like, it seems like this year is going to be his year, similar to what Kane Williamson did end of last year, or Virat Kohli's done for a few years, what Steve Smith's done for a few years. Because Joe Root, I can't think of one season or 1 year where he's been the best batsman out of the Fab Four, if you know what I mean. And this year, the way he started off, he's basically scored almost 400 runs in 3 innings, right? That's just crazy, okay? What he's done, especially on these spinning tracks, he's shown how good he is. And because of this confidence that he gets, he'll feel a lot more comfortable playing in those spinning conditions in Chennai in a couple of weeks. Because India are going to make spin-friendly wickets. They're going to bring Ashwin. They're going to play Akshar Patel. They're going to maybe even play Washington Sundar. They're probably going to go at least 2, maybe even 3 spinners. So the way I see it is Joe Root looks in amazing form. Plus, if they get Ben Stokes back, Ben Stokes is a really good player of spin. And I think Josh Butler is only there for the first game. But the way he batted in this innings just made me really happy. Because first one, yes, he reverse swept like every other ball, right? But in this one, he played all around the ground. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was really good. And England are number 4 in the World Test Championship, but they're only like 1% away from Australia, or even less than 1%. So it's getting very, very close. And if the Australia-South Africa series doesn't happen and England wins against India, it's going to be a tough couple of months in terms of judging what's going to happen for the World Test Championship final.
Yeah, I think so. India top at the moment with 71.7%, New Zealand 70, Australia 69.2, and England 68.7. This is win percentages. So, as you said, if England beat India, then there's going to be a bit of a reshuffle, and Australia playing South Africa, I think, isn't it? Next.
Potentially, nothing's confirmed yet.
Yeah, so that's supposed to be in February. So we'll see. They're definitely preparing for it, because I've been listening to some South African channels, and that's why I think they've not picked a very strong T20 side for the Pakistan tour, but they picked a strong Test side. Venu, in terms of Sri Lankan cricket, so England have got 15 more tests, I think, for the rest of the year. So they've got a very packed schedule. I'll be surprised if Root doesn't get at least 1,000 runs this year. But in terms of, from a Sri Lankan point of view, they don't have a lot of Test cricket this year. How do you rate the series, though, out of 10 for Sri Lanka? And what's your reasoning behind it? And give me a couple of talking points, a couple of positives, and maybe a couple of things they should be working on.
Oh, a score for Sri Lanka, maybe 5 out of 10 overall. Potentially lower. But let's be honest here, right? For probably over half the series, they were actually competitive. Actually, in the first Test match, they were always chasing the game, but the third and fourth day, they actually put up a fight. And this Test match, they're in control of it. They had one hand on the game and they threw it away. So, yeah, I just think, as we said before, I think Arangan made a really good point. Sri Lanka need to work on consistency, making sure that performance are consistent throughout all sessions and throughout the days. Like if they, if they were battered like they did in the first innings of this Test match, got another 100, 150 runs to add to that score, they'll be in the driving seat going to day 5. So let's put things into perspective. Yes, 2 poor batting collapses. Yes, some of the shots they were playing, it was just as what was the word you said, Ashdad?
Irresponsible.
It was irresponsible. So they need to look at their mentality, especially when it comes to batting. There's not. I don't think it's technically. They showed they can score runs, but it's a mental thing. And there's something they need
shot selection and application.
Yeah, shot selection, application, mentality. Yeah. So in terms of positives to take away from the tour, I would say EMBULDENIYA. It has to be. The fact he got 10 wickets this Test match. He kind of single-handedly got them to a better score in the second innings with his 40. Yeah, it has to be EMBULDENIYA as the star player for Sri Lanka. I'm not sure, he might be the leading wicket taker for.
Yeah, he is. So he's a leading wicket taker of the series on 15, average of 27. Dom Bess is on 12. He's a second, and Jack Leach is 10.
Okay.
So that
out of all the spinners, he's been the best spinner. Other positives: Tiramani getting back into form. Angela Matthews getting some runs. Those are some positives. But yeah, the thing is, right, the negatives this tour has completely outweighed all the positives, and it's just a shame. But there's good things to work, some good things that have come out of this, that's for sure. It's a shame that I think England have got another 15 more Test matches this year.
Yeah,
Sri Lanka have only got 4 more, maybe, that's been penciled in. So hopefully they get more Test matches confirmed later on this year. But yeah, I think that's what I've got to say for that, really.
Yeah. What about then, Asjad, from a Sri Lanka point of view? EMBULDENIYA didn't have much backup in terms of bowling wise, did he? What do they need to do there? Do they need to maybe potentially bring some other players in home conditions, because they weren't particularly effective? That they bowled well in spells. I think Luckmal, for example, bowled well the new ball, but didn't really get any reward for it. But EMBULDENIYA really carried them the whole way through, and the other bowlers hardly got any wickets.
Yeah, I think he got 15 wickets, as you clearly said, and the other bowlers hardly took like single digits, whatever it was. So I think one thing Sri Lanka can improve on is the fact that, the issue that we talk about Pakistan cricket, they have a lot of T20 players playing Test matches, right? It's maybe that mindset, because EMBULDENIYA can bowl the delivery on the same place or around about the same place, take it away, and then push it into the batsman in 5 overs. He can bowl it almost the exact same place 5 overs in a row. But when you look at the pitch map of all the other bowlers, they're not as consistent. And I think Venu just said that Arangan said consistency, but consistency in terms of their bowling where they need to bowl. So the best example I could give you is, at one point when Mohammad Abbas for Pakistan was bowling very well, Josh Hazlewood is a perfect example. You have a square, or you have some place that you say, this is where I'm going to keep hitting the ball. And when the batsman makes a mistake, that's when I get my wicket. And they weren't patient enough. EMBULDENIYA was patient enough, and he got 7 for in this match. It's just absolutely mind-boggling what he's done in terms of if you compare it to the rest of the Sri Lankan bowling lineup, he's like on another level, and everyone else is like grade 2, and he's like doing university and stuff, right? if you look at it that way. So genuinely, I've been very impressed. And he's only played like 9 test matches, is it?
Yes, I think it's 9th test match, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy in the way that he's been given that responsibility completely. And he's the only one performing. Like, he can get a wicket from anywhere. That's what I noticed. Like, in the later innings, in the second innings, maybe he was a little ineffective because, again, that guy gets tired as well. He bowled 45 overs or something like that in the first innings. And then he has to come back to bowl after Sri Lanka get out in 35 overs. So he didn't get enough rest. And he batted for a long time of it, right? So all that kind of comes into play. But yeah, he was just really good. They have to look for other spinners, other people in the domestic setup who can be consistent, be in terms of the bowling. I don't know. This is my personal opinion, and Venu might disagree with me. But I think Nuwan Kulasekara, it was a bowler that could pitch the ball in the same place and hit it over the past 15 years. Not counting Chaminda Vas because he's a legend, right? But in terms of recently, I think that's the only other bowler I can think of with regards to test matches that I can think of that Sri Lanka had who could hit the same place over and over again in terms of fast bowlers. That's someone they need. They also need someone like Herat, who was freaking amazing for them, taking whatever, like over 400 wickets in tests, right? And EMBULDENIYA can be that, but he needs some sort of support around him. He has nobody. And that's disheartening.
Yeah, I think in home conditions, you have to look upon the spinners, and Dewan Pereira is 38 now, and obviously Mendes looked like he will be handy as a third option, as an all-rounder, but they need to find another spinner, I think, there. In terms of fast bowlers, they're missing Nuwan Pradeep, who's coming towards the end of his career, but he's very consistent. I'm a really big fan of him. I think he would have made a difference early doors for sure. Okay, let's go on to England then. Obviously, the positives, we know Joe Root, Dom Siverly getting some runs, Butler getting runs. I mean, I guess you could say Leach and Best, obviously they did get wickets even, sorry. Whether that's enough for both of them to sort of solidify their position, we'll see, I guess, come the India tour. But what do they need to work on? Because Dan Lawrence, Venu, he looked very good in his first debut innings, 70 odd, but since then he scored no runs. And then his next 3 innings. What do you think they're going to do in India? Do you think they're going to still persist with him? Or do you think they might say to him, look, you're maybe not in great form, so maybe we should say, let's give you a rest for the next couple of matches so that you've had a good start, but they don't want to get into a position where he's done well the first innings he's had, and then he just keeps on making the same mistake, and it seems to be to spin. So what do you think, Venu?
Yeah, I think Stokes comes in for Lawrence for the first India Test match. I don't see any other changes there. But yeah, I think Stokes will come in for Lawrence in that, and he slots at number 5. So Stokes in for Lawrence. And it makes things interesting when there's a debate. Does Crawley drop down to 3, and Burns at number 1? But that's something we'll discuss later. But I think Stokes comes in for Lawrence.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think they will go Crawley at 3 because Bairstow's not in the squad. Which again, I think Nasser Hussain said they should rethink it. I think they're going to. I think they're going to stick with their guns. They'll go with Burns and Sibley, and then Crawley at 3. Joe Root at 4, and then Stokes at 5, and then you've got Butler. And then who they go with at 7, I think really depends. But they've got Arch coming back in. He will definitely come in, let's be honest. They'll either go at 7, I think, with Moyne, or they'll go with Wokes. And then you kind of go from there. I think Leach will be in there. It's just a question of where the best gets in there.
Yeah, they'll probably go Moyne rather than Chris Wokes in Chennai. I think that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and Wokes is not super effective outside of England, I think, given if you look at his stats, he's a very, very good home bowler in test matches and a very quality ODI bowler. But I think when it comes to test matches, not as effective. They'll go with one of Broad and Anderson, and then I think that kind of picks the team, really. What do you think, Asjad, about the exclusion of Sam Curran and Johnny Bairstow for those first 2 tests?
I think in a way it makes sense personally. Johnny Bairstow is a weird one because before the series started, people were thinking, why is he even being considered for the test kind of place? But because he's performed fairly well, they're thinking, oh, he's a decent batsman to have in the playing 11. But I think this is what I think Michael Atherton was saying, because Sam Curran and Johnny Bairstow play all formats. They want them to get as much rest as possible because there will be more series coming up. And for me, I don't think Johnny Bairstow gets into England's top best 11 right now. I think he's in their best 12, but he's not in their best 11 or best 13. I don't think he'll be in their best 11. So it makes sense. Sam Curran, I think the only reason Sam Curran was kind of in the side was because Chris Woakes couldn't play these two matches. Otherwise, it would have been Chris Woakes would be playing. So that's why they sent back Sam Curran. And I know you don't like me talking about this, but Bairstow and Sam Curran would be very important for the IPL and for the T20s and the ODIs they have against India. So that's probably the reason why they're like, yeah, let them get some rest. And then when they come back, then they'll be able to help England out a lot.
No, that's fine. That makes sense. Yeah, they'll obviously be playing Bairstow, especially will be playing all the shorter format matches against India, so all the T20s and ODIs, and I'm sure Sam Curran will play at least some of the T20s, if not some of the ODIs. He's also more effective, I think, in home conditions in test matches, so that's probably why they're thinking, well, we can rest him, we've got other bowlers to look upon, and he's still quite young, so they don't want to burn him out. And Mark Wood isn't there as well, which kind of makes sense because, again, you don't want to burn him out, considering I think he, again, is going to be more effective in home conditions. Okay, is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap up here? Venu, is there any closing remarks maybe on the series?
Not really, just a bit disappointing in the end, wasn't it? It was a bit of an anticlimax in the end. Yeah, disappointed by Sri Lanka's performance, but England are looking good. England are looking goodish, and great to see Joe Root back in form, and looks like he's en route to score a lot of runs this year. And he's going to be a very important year for him.
Did you do that on purpose? You said en route to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, I did, mate.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I did. Okay, yeah, he is en route to score many runs this year, and yeah, going to be a great year for him and his England team.
Yeah, he is en route for sure. Yeah, the Moose Cup. I love that. I love the cup. I just wanted to drop that in because I thought that was hilarious. The cup they've got for series. I don't know why it's a moose actually.
I don't think are they even like moose in Sri Lanka? I just don't get it.
You tell me. You've been to Sri Lanka. I don't know.
I don't think there is.
Maybe it's, I don't know. It obviously has some type of significance, but the trophy's huge. I think it was almost like as big as Joe Root is holding it. But it's one of the best looking trophies out there, to be fair.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
England have won now 5 games in a row in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And that's
sad, man. That's sad from a Sri Lanka point of view.
They won 3-0 last tour and 2-0 this tour. And just thinking, it's just difficult as a Sri Lankan fan, as a Sri Lankan follower. I think Sri Lanka, they're at a crossroads right now, and a lot of these teams like Pakistan, Bangladesh, they don't have the money like the big teams. Yeah. And they probably players are looking at maybe let's focus on ODI cricket, and that's why so far Sri Lanka have all got 4 test matches booked in. That's not good enough.
Well, to be fair, I think that's also to do with the T20 World Cup, isn't it? I think Jai Warden has said maybe it's because the T20 World Cup's coming in November, so they might be focusing on that. And we know, to be fair, Venu, to Sri Lanka, despite what state their team may be in come a World Cup, they are a very good tournament team, and they're probably one of the best in world cricket in terms of results, let's say. Not necessarily winning World Cups, but in getting to quarters, getting to semis consistently. And he said that their T20 side's quite good, and I'm assuming it is pretty good when you look at what's on offer. That their T20 side will be quite good. So, we'll see. We'll see where they're at because I think they've got West Indies next. So they're playing T20s and Test matches against them. Now West Indies we know are not at the top of their game, especially if they don't have full availability. If Sri Lanka do what Bangladesh have just done to them in the ODI series, then you can see that Sri Lanka are, a slight level above maybe their West Indies side at the moment. So that'll be a good yardstick, I think. But I wouldn't be too doom and gloom about Sri Lanka because you know, you said there's a lot of negatives, but let's be honest, people like EMBULDENIYA, and there are some youngsters coming through, Hasaranga, Shanaka, you know, they didn't play the second test, but they're people that will play well in all three formats for Sri Lanka. Yeah. They've got people coming through. They just need to piece it together now. They've got that experience. They need to blend it with the youth and do it well. But I think, as you said, it's also the money is a factor. So it's about developing them the right way. Asjad, any closing remarks?
No, just the fact that I predicted 2-0 to Sri Lanka, and it was
so did I, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The cricket pod were right, so it's fine.
Yeah, so that's it. No, I thought the series was pretty good, though. I didn't think it was bad. Just this last day kind of frustrated me a little, but barring that, I was quite content with the quality of cricket. As you mentioned previously, it was quite competitive as well. So no, good series. Looking forward to the England-India series in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
so I think, as you said, this one I was a bit disappointed because I thought Sri Lanka might nick this one. And the first one, it started off pretty poorly, but I thought maybe there might be a miracle in that day 5, but obviously it wasn't to be. I predicted Sri Lanka 2-0 as well, just because I thought they'd have a little bit of that home advantage, but it wasn't to be. So well played to England, and yeah, maybe I should. My predictions haven't been very good for quite some time. I might have to rein it back a little bit. I don't think I've got one series right yet since we started. I got the Australia-India one wrong. So I think we all said 4-0, didn't we? Or 3-0 after that 36 all out. Pakistan-New Zealand, I said 2-0 to Pakistan. I think that was very ambitious, but you know, it's fine. This one, I said 2-0 to Sri Lanka. It's okay. Maybe I'm predicting with my heart rather than my head. Yeah.
You should find out what we actually said and get a graphic up and see who's.
Oh yeah, score. Yeah, we could do that. I know.
Keep track of it.
Yeah, I remember what you guys said because I remember what you said for Australia, India. You said the same as me. I should have said the same as well. So we were all wrong. But for Pakistan, New Zealand, you both said 2-0 New Zealand. So you were right. I was wrong for that. And this one, I think. Venu, what did you predict for this one? Did you say 1-1? 1-1. Yeah, so we were all wrong for this one.
Also, this is why I was angry all day. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been so bad, to be honest, if they managed to get a draw from this. So, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, looking forward, as Asjad said, to the England-India series and also Pakistan-South Africa starting tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow, as long as this video goes up today, which hopefully it should. Given my availability, hopefully it should. I'll do my best. Thank you very much, both of you, for being on, as always. Guys, if you haven't already, check out Asjad's channel, Cricket4Us 2.0, which I'm sure you have already. And Venu has put together a really, really good Venu's Weekly Cricket Catch-Up, which is number 8, which we released yesterday. And there's a really intriguing debate that's that fired on between me and Venu on the LBW rule and whether it should be changed. So please have a look at that. I've timestamped it as well, so you can check in and out of what news you want to be updated on. Thank you very much, guys, and stay safe.